What's good, everybody? It is Wednesday, February 15th. Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day. This is your daily sports betting brand of record. We call it the Early Edge. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. Now, as always, before we look forward, we must look back. And last night, there was a lot to unpack. I told Damian Lillard, prove me wrong at over 35.5. Well, he did, but it still was a blowout the wrong way. But how about the positives? How about EC? No more parlays, and he goes 3 for 4, just like I told him. He's a savage. It's just hard to put three-teamers together. It really, really is. But today's a special day. It's a busy day. So let's bring in the stars of the show. Let's waste no more time, because look who I have at my fingertips on day 2 of the Champions League with that big old fat smile. Ladies and gentlemen, he is everything soccer for us, with the guru, with the silent one, Brant Sutton. Buckets, are you intimidated being on with these two this morning?
I am every single week, Coach, but I'm slowly getting used to it. But the intimidation never fully goes away. Oh, gosh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Right now?
Go next.
All right, just stay right there. I have a very serious question. Let's go to M squared. And Mikey, just moments ago, I got an alert on my phone that Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for our Kansas City Chiefs, is interviewing today for the same job with Washington. What gives in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's probably more to the relationship there with him, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes. You know, whenever you have multiple people trying to call plays, you've been in that same spot for, an extended period of time. You've had some success. Sometimes it's time to move on there. I think that he might have more control in Washington if that's where he wants to go. But yeah, it's a very interesting process. But I do think that there's a little bit of headbutting going on in the Kansas City offensive side of the football.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Andy Reid publicly saying if he steps away and doesn't come back, he hopes Eric Bieniemy gets the job. Why would he have to say that if there was already something in place? Very interesting with our squad. And said the Commanders need him. No, there's no question about that. Now, when you talk about the NFL, for 6 months, this man is just laser focused. But now we have to shift. Maestro, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, it's all about college basketball for me right now. I had 5 plays on the site last night. I had the full range of emotions. You get St. John's with a 3-pointer to send it to overtime. They cover in double OT. Terrible game by both teams. I mean, the late game execution was not there, but I'll take that win. But on the other side, I was laying 4.5 with Georgia against a dead LSU team. Georgia goes 15 of 26 from the foul line. They don't cover the 4.5. So you get the full range of sweats with college hoops. I'm going to have multiple plays again up on the site today. Already have one that I really love.
You talk about late game execution. Did you watch Providence?
I missed that. I missed the ending.
It was the most embarrassing cover that we've ever had as a show. Providence, they also went to overtime. I think double overtime. The worst late game execution I've ever seen in college basketball. It was horrendous. But they got the W. That's all that matters. All right, Maestro, thank you very much. Now, I told you it's going to be a big day, but it's also kind of a sad day because the NFL season officially ends today, because the Kansas City Chiefs will take over downtown Kansas City for their parade. So me and Snake and AB, we're always trying to think, what can we do for the show? Because for the next 6 months, we need something to prop it up. We need something to hold on to. But then also, for you guys to watch at home, we have to lose our absolute stars. What?
Did I hear prop and did I hear star, Coach?
Oh! So maybe. I got to calm down. Propstarz is here on a daily. Alex, what are you doing here?
I'm live in the flesh. We were mourning after our Eagles lost the Super Bowl. Hadn't really been able to do much. I figured it's time to dust myself off, get out of bed, time to deliver some NBA props. We're putting the NFL season in the rearview mirror. It was a great year. Congratulations to you, Coach. Congratulations to Mikey. But yeah, now we're looking forward.
Wow, NBA props on the morning show from the man himself. All of a sudden, that little bit of sadness I had, it just went away. It just went away. So let's get into it. Storylines that could affect the betting lines today. And Maestro, I'm coming right to you because in college, when I look down at Texas A&M, well, you and I cashed together last week, and we're able to high five when they cashed another ticket for us. So they've kind of been trending. Start us off.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Buzz Williams and Texas A&M, but it's so fitting that Propstarz is on the show this morning because this week at SportsLine, we are rolling out NBA props in the pick feed. You saw it with NFL, and we got a great response to that. This is going to be even better, a full menu of props that Alex, Mike Barner, and others, Zach Simony, will be posting in your pick feed. So you got to turn on your notifications. So every time Alex makes a pick, you get an immediate alert. That should happen this week. So I'm great to see Alex on the morning show. I just want to talk about Buzz Williams. You remember how they got snubbed, Texas A&M last year? They won 7 straight. They made it to the SEC title game, but it looked like the committee didn't even watch the SEC tournament. I mean, they beat 3 top 15 teams down the stretch. They couldn't get in. Well, here they are, 10-2 in the SEC, and I just checked Jerry Palm's bracketology on CBS. They're still one of the first 4 out. Other people have them just barely in the tournament. They will start tonight, the final late season push, hosting Arkansas in a big game, pretty much a must-win game for both teams when you're looking at their NCAA tournament chances. And, Buzz Williams, he said the system is broken. They were flat out wrong last season. So I expect another big late season push from the Aggies to avoid that situation this year.
I don't want them to get snubbed, but there is always something entertaining about a coach that gets snubbed multiple times. I worked with Seth Greenberg at ESPN. As many of you know, he made it a career complaining about not getting in and going to the NIT. And we used to tease him about it all the time. All right. Now, Maestro, thank you very much. I'm betting on Texas A&M. They're a really good basketball team. I don't care if they're going to the dance or not. Now, speaking of good teams, today there is one English Premier League game, but it is 2 absolute heavyweights. It's the Guru's favorite team, Arsenal, against a team that has a lot to prove after sanctions just a week ago, Man City. Buckets, you're up.
It is crazy to say, Coach, with the Champions League going on this afternoon, but for most people, the match of the day is that EPL clash between Arsenal and Manchester City. These are the 2 best teams in the English Premier League currently, and this game is basically everything for the rest of the season. These teams were supposed to play back in September earlier of this year. They did have to miss that game due to the postponement with the passing of the Queen. And so now this is the first rematch between these 2 sides. Arsenal currently sits 3 points ahead of Manchester City on the table with a game in hand. So if they win this game, they could be 9 points ahead of the rest of the league. Manchester City, on the other hand, a win here ties them with Arsenal and completely opens up this EPL race. This is a massive game for both teams. We might just have a pick for it later on in the show.
Look at you with the tease. I like it. How much money would you say that Mr. Holland makes for Man City? Would you say around 40 million, 45 million?
A lot more than that.
A lot more than that. Well, there's a quarterback in the NFL that was scheduled to make $40 million if he would have been on the team today. But Alex, I'm coming to you because yesterday the Las Vegas Raiders, they cut Derek Carr. What does that mean from a betting perspective?
Yeah, very fascinating, Coach. He was expected to draw interest from the Saints and Panthers, in addition to the Jets and the Titans also being recently linked to Carr. He came pretty close, actually, to signing or at least to waiving his no-trade clause prior to getting released and then potentially being traded to the New Orleans Saints. But ultimately, didn't waive his no-trade clause. As a result, he's being released. Now he's free to sign anywhere. Surprisingly, the Panthers are actually the betting favorites to land Carr. They're currently plus 250. Next up are the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are at plus 300 to sign Carr, and they haven't even been linked to him yet. Does make a lot of sense on paper. Will be really interesting to see where he signs. I feel like he's the first domino sort of to fall in this NFL offseason.
No, I completely agree with you. I think Derek Carr and Jimmy G, those are the 2 big names that we're going to be keeping an eye on. And as we know, in the NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to show up for the playoffs. Just the way it is. All right. Now, I've got 4 amazing handicappers at my fingertips, which means I've got to pay those pesky little bills. Before we get to our board, let's hear from one of our incredible partners. or maybe not. All right, let's get into our board for the day. Clearly something happened with the tech. And if you're not a SportsLine member, what in the world are you doing? One play today. We're going to go to the ice. That's right, the NHL, they're still playing. Wild, Minnesota Wild. On the money line, minus 140 tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. This one is courtesy, and if you want to read the reason, and you're a SportsLine member, for Maddie Severance. You can go there and read it yourself. Perfect. All right, now, where do I start? Well, on a Wednesday, sometimes you have a bounce back Wednesday. Like I said, we got to make it special. So, Arsenal playing Man City. We got the Champions League. We got so much golf getting ready for Riviera. So, M squared, if you don't mind. You know the drill, son. It doesn't matter if it's college basketball, NBA, injury report, or even soccer. My man simply does it all. So please, on this Bounce Back Wednesday, give it to me.
All right, Coach, let's hit another college basketball matchup. It's a big one in the Big East here. Xavier Marquette. I played the over in this game, over 159. It is on the move in the last 30 minutes. It is now up to 161. Most places 160.5 you can still find out there. Still like it. Simulations on this number go all the way up to 167. Remember, you can get these on SportsLine the night before, around 10 to 10:30 p.m. Is when these are posted here for me. But this is a big number, but it's for good reason. And I will first want to warn, you can live bet this game. The pace that they play with, if they start slow in any way, there's going to be significant in-game opportunities to play live as well. But both of these teams play with incredible pace. Xavier is actually the faster team in this matchup now. We're so used to Marquette being the fastest team or one of the fastest teams. Xavier is playing with an even quicker pace, playing in a top 20 pace currently at this point. Both of these offenses rank inside the top 10, number 2 and 3 in terms of shooting percentage. That is something we love to see when both sides are going to be interested in playing with pace and scoring in transition. Look, I love this spot, especially when you've got Xavier. They are the road team, but one thing they do really well to stay in basketball games, they're one of the best teams on the offensive glass in college basketball. It's a big number. There's going to be a lot of points. Definitely an overtime candidate as well. Let's go over 159, 160, 161.
I am so glad that you mentioned the live betting aspect of this, because when you have this high of a total, which is pretty much as high as we see normally, 160, 161, that even with a fast start, it still won't change the top number that much. But it could come down with a little slow. I love that.
You'll see this number, like I said, it's 159 to 161. You'll see it between 170 and 140 in the first half of this game, which is those kind of extremes simply don't exist on most games. So there's lots of opportunities if you follow the game.
There you go. Educate and entertain, ladies and gentlemen. Educate and entertain. That's what we're all about. Hashtag it pays to watch live. All right, Buckets, I'm coming to you next, because as I look at my notes, you didn't even touch the Champions League today. So I'm going to ask you about that after you give me your two picks. And also, you changed one of them before the show, and I want you to answer for that. You had Arsenal, Man City, both teams to score, but you changed it. Why?
I changed it because I truly believe that Pep Guardiola, the manager of Manchester City, is going to take his team and say, tune out everything. All the investigations, all the nonsense, everything going behind the scenes, that does not matter for us as a team. Go out there and get me that win. I am taking Manchester City on that draw no bet line to give me that safety net, but this is the perfect time for Manchester City to strike, and this is kind of the worst time possible for Arsenal to play right now. Arsenal have only 5 draws or losses all season, and 3 of them are in their last 5 games. This is a team that is struggling with injuries and with fatigue and with everything going on in that midseason slump that we see from them almost every year. So I want to apologize to the guru because I think Manchester City show up big time this afternoon. I do have a second pick as well. This is in the English Championship. This is at 3 p.m. this afternoon. The Championship, not the Champions League. I'm looking at a matchup between Sheffield United and Middlesbrough. A lot of people hadn't heard of Sheffield United until a couple weeks ago when they played Wrexham AFC in the FA Cup, and now Sheffield is on everybody's radar. This is one of the best teams in the English Championship that are averaging over 2 goals scored a game. They have only lost 1 game in their last 9. This is a really strong team taking on a Middlesbrough team that is equally as strong. These are 2 of the 3 best goal-scoring teams in all of the championship right now. So to get BTTS at minus 120, I think that is tremendous value for a game that last time they played ended 4-4.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. By the way, if you're looking for this, he said English Championship. Usually you go to Europe and go down and it'll say English Championship right there. It's pretty easy to find. Not as difficult as it sounds. Buckets, thank you very much. Also, the Guru has Benfica Lisbon today on the money line. Do you like that?
I do like that. And I do really quick wanted to address why I'm not on Champions League games today. Yep. We saw yesterday with the first leg and that Bayern PSG game and the other game as well. Teams are kind of getting stuff figured out right now. Both games ended 1-0, luckily for Bayern Munich, but teams are taking this slow in the first leg, and I'm expecting a much more explosive second leg. So I'm being cautious today. I do think Benfica win, and there's going to be, I think he went under 4.5 goals in that as well. I think that's a great look as well. It's just a little scary to see those first leg games.
Yeah, I think you got to go with the side because it was incredibly frustrating yesterday. If we had been on the over, it's just like extracting teeth right now to get these goals with these big teams. Buckets, thank you very much. All right, now this man's going to be on a lot moving forward, and I am thrilled about it. So today is the first NBA prop officially for the Early Edge universe on the show. Propstarz, you're up, big boy.
The first of many, Coach. Yeah, first up, we're going Zach Collins under 26.5 combined points, rebounds, and assists. This is a big number for Zach Collins. He's been held under 27 PRA in 15 of his previous 16 games. The lone game where he went over was a double overtime game against the Pistons where he played a season high 35 minutes. This is just an inflated number. It's an overreaction after the Spurs traded Jakob Poeltl. Collins is going to absorb some of those minutes, but in my opinion, this line should be closer to 23 to 24.5 PRA at the absolute most. Even in a good matchup against the Hornets, this is just too big. This was bigger than Poeltl's lines when he was starting at center. In my opinion, he's a more productive player than Collins with a higher offensive output. Also, I think it's going to be a disadvantage for Zach Collins playing against opposing front courts, their starting front courts, whereas he was coming off the bench earlier. Just an overreaction, in my opinion. So, yeah, we're fading Zach Collins under 26.5 combined points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah, speaking of Poeltl, you might want to keep an eye on him. He had a huge game last night for the Raptors, and they beat the Magic by 10. So keep an eye. Write this stuff down. You can use it in the future. We do this every single day. This is a long play game. Now, we've heard from Mikey. We've heard from Buckets. We've heard from Propstarz, 3 absolute legends. But this man was here on day freaking one. Day freaking one. So, Maestro, if you don't mind, you're in the Maestro seat for a reason. Floor is yours.
Okay, I'm looking at that Arkansas-Texas A&M game, and Arkansas has maybe the best freshman in the country, or at least he was supposed to be, in Nick Smith. He's only played 6 games due to knee management issues. He came back on Saturday. They lose at home to Mississippi State. It's a tough spot because you have to play him. He's so talented, but he does affect the chemistry. Other guys' roles change. He had 5 points in 17 minutes. How many minutes is he going to get tonight? Texas A&M knows what they want to do, and this is a payback spot. They lost 81-70 at Arkansas. They've won 3 in a row since then. They only shot 14 free throws in that game. That's crazy for them. They lead the SEC with 476 made free throws. That's 57 more than any other team. They're going to get to the line tonight. They're going to score inside tonight, which they didn't do in Fayetteville. Feels like everyone is on this play. It was 2.5. I'm seeing now 3.5s, 4s. I'm not going to go higher than 3.5 for A&M, but I love it. I love the Aggies. I'm going to lay the points.
Yeah, anything higher than 3 feels like just that half a point feels like just a little too much when you have a conference play with 2 teams like this. That extra half a point just feels like a lot. But I love this play, and I love the Aggies. Maestro, thank you very much. All right, do not forget, we have Early Edge in 5 coming up today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I will have 2 NBA plays on that show. And I think that we're going to start calling something. I think somebody in the chat labeled something for us today and didn't even realize it. They said, I had an EC moment last night when I was sure my parlay was going to win, and then it didn't. So starting right here, right now, we're going to call that an EC moment. You like that, Buckets? You like that? I knew you would. EC moment from now on when you think a game is going to hit or a parlay is going to hit, and then it gets whitewashed off the board. I love that. EC moment. All right. Also, don't forget the early wedge. If you guys missed it yesterday, our brand new golf show that's killing it. We're now recording that on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's in your feed live. You still have time. The Genesis starts tomorrow. Mikey, do you have picks up at SportsLine? Yes?
We do, yes. Picks, DFS, everything. Yep. Big tournament. Big tournament.
Big tournament. Second elevated event in a row. If you're not a SportsLine member, you don't get Mikey stuff. You don't get Mikey stuff. That's all I'm saying. It's worth it. It's worth it. And with all that being said, I need my single. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know. Snake, what are you doing? Who's messing with me right now? Buckus? Did you guys?
No, it's not me. It's not. It's just funny.
It's just funny? You think this is funny? Okay. There's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. Somebody's messing with me. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For our entire crew, love them all. Most of them. Buckets. Propstarz, great having him here. M Squared and the Maestro. And I will deal with Snake in a moment. I am the coach. Tell all your friends. We're here multiple times a day, but we're here every single day. We don't run. We don't miss shows. And we grind for you so we can win with you. Right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.